If you wouldn't mind to stand, we'll go to the Lord in prayer and ask Him to bless the service tonight. Appreciate Him for moving in choir practice. He moved on my heart anyway, and I'm thankful for it. Let me say that I'm very grateful to everyone this morning that was part of the birthday celebration for me. I think everybody that brought anything, did anything, all of it said nice things. I appreciate it. Even if you lied to me, I thank you for it. It's been a blessing, and I really love this place. It really means a lot to me when y'all do that, and I just want to say thank you. I'm going to pray and get out of the way, but I've asked Brother Josh to take care of the service tonight, and so he's going to take care of everything and preach for us. Y'all pray for him that God would use him tonight. I believe that I'm very thankful for the men of this church, the preachers that are here. God has blessed us very mightily, and I'm very thankful for these men. They've backed me 100% and been there for me, done anything I've asked them to do. And so I'm going to pray for the service tonight, and you do the same. All right, Lord, we love you tonight. Again, come to you so thankful for what you've done for us. We're so unworthy, but we're thankful. And I thank you for all that you've done for me today. And I pray that you just go throughout the service this morning, touch every heart that's here. For those that can't be here, Lord, I hope they're listening by way of internet, and you touch them right where they're at. Be with the preacher tonight, Lord, that you'd use them in a mighty way. Help us to have church tonight. We've come looking for you. I didn't really come to hear Brother Josh. I come to hear you. I didn't really come to see anybody else really so much as I did. I want to see you, and I want to hear what you have to say to my heart. Lord, you touch me. Lord, would you change me, Lord, even if it's uncomfortable and hurts. Lord, I pray that conviction and correction would come. Lord, make me more like you, and I thank you for whatever's accomplished, and I pray that you save a sinner tonight. This is my prayer. Amen.
All right, y'all can be seated. We're going to sing page 220, The Love of God. Highest star. glad to be here tonight. I'm super nervous as always, so I'll end up doing something dumb, I'm sure. But the night's still young. All right, let's go ahead and take up our offering here tonight. Who's playing? Miss Leah, all right. You three, Dawson. I've lost my Bible. I've got to find it. There it is. All right, Bryce, you care to pray for us tonight, brother? Amen. Let's open up with a word of prayer this morning. Anybody have any prayer requests before we pray tonight? All right. There's Miss Brenda on the way home Tuesday. Anybody else? I see y'all pray for my brother and his wife. They found out that she was pregnant, so if y'all don't care to pray for them, keep them in your prayers over the next several weeks. So my mom's elated. She's here tonight, so she's glowing. Anybody else? Everybody else doing good? All right. Very humble. Remember that. Anybody else? Remember Miss Emily. Anybody else? If not, let's pile in around the altar tonight and call these prayer requests out to God tonight. Remember the service tonight. Remember that there are more than likely someone here lost tonight, so remember to call them out tonight. I'd love to see somebody get saved tonight. And I'd love just whatever God has for us tonight. Brother Casey, carry this prayer tonight, brother. Leave it. You can't get any water. All right. Does anybody have a song on your heart tonight? Or do we need to put one on somebody's heart? We can do that. Spirit Cliff? All right. Well, we'll do the Spirit Trio tonight. Thanks, sir.
take, no moves left to make. Oppressing fears, tormenting doubts, prayer after prayer, still there's no way out, and it seems like pain is all you gain. Hold on, hold on, through every storm, hold on, even in the darkest night, walk by faith, not sight. Hold on, 'cause there is a Father above, holding peace like a dove. In the midst of all your dark despair, with open arms, He is waiting there just to hold you until your hurt is gone. Your hurt is gone. Hold on, through every storm. Hold on, even in the dark. I walk by faith, not sight. Hold on, through every storm. Hold on, even in the darkest night. Walk by faith, not sight. Hold on, even in the darkest night. Walk by faith, not sight. Hold on, We sat silent for too long, while the darkness ever strong cast a shadow on this land. But we're the children of the light. We have hope that's burning bright. We weren't made to cower, we were made to stand. Let the church arise. Let us stand for what is holy. Let us stand for what is right, and live our lives as a beacon in the night. No, we will not compromise. Let the church arise. All the troubles in these times doesn't catch God by surprise. He's still sovereign over all. So let the ones who bear His name be bold and unashamed, and with expectation as a winning cause. Let the church arise. Let us stand for what is holy. Let us stand for what is right, and live our lives as a beacon in the night. No, we will not compromise. Let the church arise. These are the days for the church to be, who Christ has made the church to be. Let the church arise. Let us stand for what is holy. Let us stand for what is right, and live our lives as a beacon in the night. No, we will not compromise. Let the church
Thank you all for singing tonight. I have a soft spot for Spirit Club. Many of you all know I spent a lot of my young adult life at the Spirit Club. And you say, you're supposed to get kicked out. They kicked me out, but I kept coming back. The old disguise let me come back. So, no, I appreciate the Spirit Club very much. I appreciate Miss Teresa for years. I give her as many roses as I can because she just means so much to me. So, does anybody else have a song tonight? Well, yeah, better than anybody I know. So.
There lived a man and a woman in a town called Shunem. They made a home for Elisha and found favor in his eyes. So God sent them a miracle, the only thing they longed for. Within a year they were born a son, as Elisha prophesied. One day they ran from the field, brought this child to his mother. She held his head there on her knee until he died at noon that day. She didn't tell anyone. She ran straight to the man of God. And if anybody asked her, she replied while on her way, "It is well, it is well. There is peace in my despair, knowing God will hear my prayer, and I will cling to the promise that He brings. Even death will have no sting, no power in hell. In His presence I will dwell, where it is well." Elisha stood by the bedside where she laid the boy when he died. He prayed a prayer upon him, and he breathed new life again. Friend, God doesn't ever change. If you'll have that woman's faith, He'll send you a miracle. And until then you can say, "It is well, it is well. There is peace in my despair, knowing God will hear my prayer, and I will cling to the promise that He brings. Even death will have no sting, no power in hell. In His presence I will dwell, where it is well." And I just want to publicly say that I'm praying for something, and it is well, and I'm expecting Him to answer it.
Amen. Anybody else got a song on your heart tonight? Miss Joyce, can you all sing the song you sang this morning? I not know the name of it. I always get it wrong. So just whatever y'all sing this morning. Yep, that one. Yeah. I was gonna say that, but if you don't care to sing that, and then I'll preach after that. All right.
Christian
glad to know that whatever happens in this life, no matter what storms you're going through, no matter what questions are posed every day, that answer is always Christ. You can always look back and say, He's never failed me, He's never left me, He's never going to leave me, and He's never going to fail me. And I'm thankful to know tonight that that answer is Christ. All right, let's flip over to Luke chapter number 7. You don't have to stand because I don't know. Just so you don't have to stand right now. I told Brother Kevin whenever he did the thing during their choir practice, I was like, well, you just preached a message for me, and now I got to pick something else. I was like, well, so he asked me last week, and I never get that kind of advance notice ever. It's been a while since I got any kind of a notice like that. So I was like, man, this is going to be so awesome. I'm going to know what I'm going to preach when I get in here, and I'm just going to preach it. You know when I got what I was supposed to preach? Last night. Well, more specifically this morning. Probably around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And you said, preacher, why was you up so late? I couldn't get settled last night. I thought about having to preach tonight. What kind of just I don't know the word I'm trying to say, but just I'm not worthy to stand behind the pulpit. I'm not even worthy to sit on the back pew and just listen. But I'm thankful that God loves me. And I'm thankful for the times that whenever I failed Him, and it's been plenty. And it's been more since I've been saved than before. But God still comes by my way and says, I love you. And I love you so much, and I still want you to do what I want you to do. And I heard a message. I've listened to it probably 100 times on repeat. If it was a tape, it would be fried by this point. But there's a preacher by the name of Larry Brown that preaches a message called He is Precious. And I could turn it on, and whatever I got going on in my life, it could be falling apart. But just to hear how precious He was to Him. And I remember the first time I heard it, I said, Lord, will you make yourself precious to me? And He said, yeah, I will. And I got to thinking about that message last night, and I just got to thinking about the times in my life whenever I felt helpless. And I didn't know what to do. I mean, I went to Brother Randy and I go to Brother Kevin from time to time, but there's still times in your life that you feel helpless. I mean, you just can't help it. And so let's just get into the preach because I'm going to end up just talking the whole night. Let's get into the preach this night. So Luke chapter number 7. I don't have a title for this message. I have points, but I don't really know. Brother Casey can give you a title after. He's pretty good at that. So I'll ask him what I should have titled it. But tonight, Luke chapter number 7, verse number 1 says, Now when he had ended all his sayings in the audience of the people, he entered into Capernaum, and a certain centurion's servant who was dear unto him was sick and ready to die. And then he heard of Jesus, and he sent unto him the elders of Jews, beseeching him that he would come and heal his servant. And when they had came to Jesus, they besought him instantly, saying that he was worthy for whom he should do this. For he loveth our nation, and he hath built us a synagogue. Then Jesus went unto them, and when he was now not far from the house, the centurion sent friends to him, saying unto him, Lord, trouble not thyself, for I am not worthy that thou shouldest enter under my roof. Wherefore neither thought I myself worthy to come unto thee, but say in a word, and my servant shall be healed. For I also am a man set under authority, having under me soldiers, and I say unto one, Go, and he goeth, and to another, Come, and he cometh, and to my servant, Do this, and he doeth it. And when Jesus heard these things, he marveled at him, and turned him about, and said unto the people that followed him, I say unto you, I have not found so great a faith, no, not one, in Israel. And they that were sent returning to the house found the servant whole that had been sick. I'm going to ask Brother Casey if you don't care to pray for us tonight, brother. Amen. Yeah, amen. All right. And I may just be preaching to myself tonight, if that's okay. That's awesome. And you guys just write down if you need it for later. But when you feel helpless, or when you are helpless, go to God. And you say, man, that's super simple. It is. But how often, when we do feel helpless, we don't. We don't go to God. We'll say things like, well, he's too busy for what I got going on, or I don't want to bother him with that. I'll just do it myself. And I hang out with Kenneth and Amanda pretty often, and their kids I love them, every one of them. But whenever they have a problem, you can watch them work and work and work and work at trying to figure that out. But when they finally get tired of working on it and can't figure it out, you know what they go to? Yeah. Brother Kenneth. And say, I can't see a way that this will be fixed. I just can't see it. And Brother Kenneth will take it, look at it for a second, pop that back together, and be like, there you go. How long did they spend just toiling and toiling and toiling? And how often do we do that? And I'll even say, how often do I do that? I'm just as guilty as anybody. I'll tell somebody the Lord's good, He'll do that for you, and I'll have a storm in my life that I can't see the end of, and I'm sitting there in the dark just turning around in circles, wondering what's going on. But I'm telling them, hey, God can help you. You go over there to God, He can help you. And I'm standing here going, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Because helpless is a terrible feeling to have. Helpless, it's so terrible. I won't tell the entire story about how I cut my hand up, but I was talking to Jamie about it the other night, and she's like, I don't even realize that you have that, and most people don't, because you're used to seeing it, you don't know it. So I began to remember some things, and the aftercare is what I always forget about. I had like a 17-pound cast on my arm. If you came at me, I could have went wham, and you would have never woke up, because that thing was heavy. So I walked around like this all the time, because it was just that big. I couldn't move my hand because it was like that. And I remember I went to Walmart over here, and they said if you play video games, that'll be good because of to get your feeling back in your hands. I thought, well, hot dog, the doctor done told me I can play video games. I'm ready. All right, take that, Mom, in your face. She's here tonight. I can say that. So I went to Walmart, and I was going to buy a game, and you know how busy Walmart is anyway throughout the day, but at nighttime, there's some pretty sketchy people at Walmart at nighttime. You should not go when the sun goes down, all right, unless you just absolutely have to. And if you do, just keep your hand on your wallet and run through there. So here I am, I'm big, all right? I'm big now, but I was big then. So I'm standing there at the cash register, and my wallet was in my back pocket, and I was trying to get my wallet out, and then I was trying to open it to get the money out. And I remember feeling so helpless there, I couldn't do anything. If somebody wanted to come by and just take everything I had in that moment, I couldn't have done anything. And I remember feeling just so helpless in that moment. And I started to think, after we got done talking, James was like, you never told me that part of the story. I was like, I don't ever think about it. But I remember sitting down, I think I've told the story about my graduation gown, and I went into that before about how, I was dumb, and they're like, hey, just order from here. And I ordered the most expensive package, and Mom did not have expensive package money. But I didn't say nothing about money. I just ordered it. So I told Mom, and she goes, how much do you owe? And I was like, this much. She goes, what are we going to do? Now, she's way more animated back then than she is now, but it was scary. And I remember we lived in a trailer, and we had just 3 wooden steps out on the trailer at the time. And I remember we had this stupid reindeer for Christmas that we didn't ever take down. It was not Christmas. I was graduating from high school. It was not Christmas. This dumb reindeer, I remember sitting on the steps looking at this reindeer, and that reindeer would... And I sat out there for hours that night watching this reindeer and listening to Miss Edwina and Miss Brenda sing their song about, and I always say I don't remember the name of it, but whatever the song it is that they sing up here. And I remember listening, Lord, I don't know what I'm going to do. My mom don't know what she's going to do. If I don't have my gown, I can't graduate. I can't walk the line. I have to have a gown. I don't know what Mom did, what moms always do. She figured it out, got it. I got all this useless stuff. You know where it's all at? The landfill somewhere, I'm sure. I don't have any of it. But I had it all at the time. I had the dice in my window. I had the cards. I had all of it. But she got that for me. But I remember that night feeling helpless, just praying, Lord, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to give it to you. So I just a couple stories. I know y'all have heard a lot of my stories and I recycle them, but that's just what God means to me. That's how precious He is to me. When I'm going through things, I try to go back and just remember what God's done for me. So first of all, verse number 2, let's just get into this now. So you have to recognize the problem. That's the first thing. When you're helpless, you have to recognize the problem. Why are you helpless? What is going on in your life? Pinpoint that thing and say it. We're the world's worst for hiding what we got going on. I cannot tell you how many times Brother Randy got on to me because I was going through something and I didn't call him. We don't, well, some people do. I just don't. I don't ever think about, hey, this is what I got going on. Can you help me pray for that? Even though I could call anybody in here and say, I got this going on, and you all would, scramble and do whatever I needed you to do, and you would pray for me. It's the same way with God. We're going through stuff, and we act like God doesn't know what we got going on, but we don't take it to Him. We would rather like hold on to that thing and have that thing, and for some reason we just like to be pity for ourselves. We just like that. So you just have to realize the problem. Verse number 2. So here the centurion's servant who was dear unto him was just sick unto death. He realized, I can't do anything for him. The centurion, trust me, the centurion had a lot of money. He was a very powerful man. So you can mark it down that he did everything that he could have done for this man and just couldn't do it. And felt helpless and went to the last person that he had heard about, which was Jesus. Said, hey, go out there and tell him that I got somebody here that's very sick. So once you recognize the problem, next you have to rely on the right person. That's a big problem. Teenagers, listen to me. Please listen to me. People that are your age are not the people to rely on. That is not who you go to. I got more stories I can tell you. I won't get into those, but I had some knuckleheads for friends in high school that, man, you know that story in the Old Testament when that king takes over and he goes to the elders and they say, hey, if you do this, they're going to like you. And he goes, all right, that's good counsel, but let me go over here and talk to these idiots that are my age and see what they say. And they're like, you know what you should do, king? Make it harder on them. That's what you should do. Worst decision he ever made in his life. And that's what we do. We rely on the wrong people. When I was growing up, I knew that lady back there, if I needed her for something, she would do it. This lady over here, same reason. My mom, she fights you for me. My Aunt Martina, they fight you. But I knew whenever I got saved, I had somebody else that I could rely on. Yeah, I could call my mom and she would do whatever I needed her to do. But 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, my mom is a normal person. She's asleep. All of y'all are asleep at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning most of the time. But I got somebody that I can go to when I feel helpless. And it's as vivid in my mind. I remember a night that I got home by myself. I don't know how I got in the house. It was dark. I didn't turn the light on in the house, and that's unusual for me because I'm terrified of the dark. I got out of my truck with my head down on the ground and walked in the dark up to my house, into my front room, into my bed, and just laid down. Nobody in the world to call. I was by myself. And I got to feeling bad about myself that night. I said, well, I'm all by myself. And about that time, I felt somebody else come in the bed next to me and say, you ain't by yourself, son. I know you feel like you're by yourself, but you ain't by yourself. And I tell you what, nobody in this place can hug me and make me feel small, but when God comes by my way, in my bed at night when I'm praying, and I just feel Him pick me up in His arms, I'm a little baby. And none of my problems are too big for Him. None of my issues I got, He don't look at me and say, that's too big for me. You're going to have to go to somebody else. He says, is that all you got? Is there anything else I can do for you? And He wants to do those things for me. And every time in my life that I've relied on Him, that I've relied on the right person, He's got me right through that thing. Because He never led you to what you're going through and just pushed you and said, I'll see you on the other side. He walks with you every step of the way and whatever you got going on. It doesn't matter how hopeless the situation feels or how helpless you feel in that situation. He's right there next to you. He's just waiting on you to call out and rely on Him. I think the next point I have is you have to relinquish the power. And that's hard. That's hard. Because we're Americans. We're proud Americans. We don't want We don't want you to take over my life and do something for me. Help me, but let me drive. That's what we want to do. Lord, drive this ship where you want it to go. Lord, I need your help here. Come on. And God just stands there and waits for you to move out of the way and let him do that. Because a lot of the times you make a bigger mess. Well, the majority of the times you make a bigger mess trying to do it yourself and not relying on God. And so you go. So here's the thing. You acknowledge you have a problem. You go to the right person. He tells you what you need to do, but yet you won't let go. But I think it was Brother Andy that had Levi one time. He come down here and said, you'll pray about this thing. You'll say, Lord, it's yours. And you pick it right back up as you walk away. But why? Because you don't want to let go of that thing. You don't know where that's going to go. You don't know. You don't know how that thing's going to go. You need to be there to what they call helicopter parent. You got to be right over top of them. Well, I got to do this. I got to do this. Instead of just letting God do what he wants to do. How many of you know that God's way is way better than your way? We know that, but how many times is it the last resort to say, Lord, I can't do this no more, and just let it go? And how long did you spend rowing and rowing and rowing? And don't get me wrong, but when you let go, that does not mean that everything's just going to clear up right away. Don't leave here and say that I said that because you're lying. I never said that. And don't leave here and say, well, God said if I let it go, God will make everything work out the way I want it to work out. I never said that either. Don't you leave here and say that, because I didn't say that. But what I am saying is that if you rely on the right person and you let that power go to the right person, what's supposed to happen is going to happen. And what God has for your life is way, way, way better than what you have for your life. Trust me, I had so many plans for my life. None of them were smart for me. And God knew that. And God's got me exactly where he wants me at. When I was your age, did I see myself where I'm at now? Absolutely not. Not even close. No, not even close. Nowhere near. I never had an idea what I was going to do today. I had a lot of plans. And it took some time because there's some of those things that I didn't want to let go. I wanted it. I didn't let it go. And I fought and I fought and I fought. And I've made messes that I'm cleaning up today because I didn't listen to my own preaching tonight 15 years ago. But when you do those things and you get to that point, then you can receive I wish my brain was great. You can receive the provision. That's what it was. Yeah. Verses 9 and 10 says, when Jesus heard these things, he marveled at him and turned him about and said unto the people that followed him, I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. And they that were sent, returning to the house, found the servant whole that had been sick. So, Brother Kevin's been talking about faith 2 weeks in a row. Faith is something that is all the time talked about, but very, very rarely practiced. For whatever reason, we do not want to just have faith that God's got this thing. We'll say it. I hear it all the time at work. Oh, God's got this. But if you go to their house, they're working just as hard as that. Oh, man. You don't have faith. You have to have faith that what God has for your life is way better than what you have for your life. And part of faith is hoping things unseen. So you don't know. Of course you don't know. And it's scary. But God will never leave you or forsake you. And God is always going to be right there with you and knows exactly what you need. Now, again, that does not mean that if you're praying for a Ferrari that you're going to get a Ferrari. All right? A Pinto will get you to the same places that a Ferrari will. Not me, because I can't fit in a Pinto. But God knows that too. That's what I'm glad about. He ain't going to send me a Pinto. I couldn't fit in there. But God will send exactly what you need when you need it. And I could go into stories about that, and I ain't got time for that. But I could go in, I could start now, and just all night long tell you how spoil rotten I am. How many times that I said in the mornings, say, Lord, whatever you want me to do, I'm going to do it. And I just go about my day and not think about nothing. But people just all day long, hey, can you care to pray for this? Hey, can you come over and help me with that? Can you do this? Hey, I got food for you. Hey, just over and over and over, how good God has been to me, just having faith in those situations. I'll tell you this story. Everybody knows this story, but me and Jamie, when we were younger, we were way younger, I believe. But anyway, all the time we were struggling for money when we were younger, and it was just so hard. And Brother Randy just kept talking about tithing. And I was like, you know what? I can't wrap my brain around how 90% is more than 100. I just couldn't. I mean, I just couldn't. So when he would talk about it, I'd just be like, yeah. You see that stuff on the ceiling, Brother Randy? I was talking about. And he kept saying, just try him. Just see what he could do. And he'll open up the windows of heaven and he'll pour out the blessing. And he'll do it. And I was like, man, fine. So I said, Lord, you know how hard we struggle. But Lord, here you go. And I remember the first time I threw my tithes in the plate, man, I want to chase Brother Gary down to get the money back from him. I was like, I need that. I can't do without that. Brother Gary would have fought me for that. But I need it back, please. Don't cash that check. It ain't no good. But no, I remember I threw it out there and said, Lord, it's tight. It's going to be real tight this week. And I was at work or something, and I remember going to the post office or the mailbox. I can't remember now if it was the mailbox or post office box. We switched back and forth, but I think it was the mailbox. And I remember opening it up, and there was a thing from AT&T. And I thought, AT&T, we already paid you. Can't have no more money. All right, I already gave you your money. We opened it up, and this check for $500 from AT&T. AT&T said, hey, we just want to give you money. I was like, what? All right, sweet. And in that moment, I didn't think about that it was because I had given my tithes. To me, I was like, all right, cool, $500. I got to go and cash this before they change their mind and say, gotcha. And now you owe us $500 because you cashed that. And I went and cashed it, went on about my business. And I remember, because I used to tell Brother Randy everything. I mean, I'm sure he got tired of listening to me. I told him everything. And he was like, really? He said, and did you happen to tithe? I was like, I did happen to tithe. I did. He goes, so would you consider him opening I was like, it would be like what you said. He goes, all right, that's what I thought. And then, of course, he tells everything that he knew. So if you told him anything, when he got up here, he told everything. So everybody knew about it. And I was like, I don't have the $500. Do not ask me for the money, all right? I don't have it. But I said all that to say, there's a fine line. Brother Randy also told me this. There's a fine line between faith and stupidity. And I was like, whoa, Brother Randy, that's kind of harsh. He goes, it is, but it's true. I'm not telling you tonight to just whatever. I'm not telling you to do that. Do not leave here and say that I told you that, hey, just let that baby drive by itself. That's not what I said. What I'm saying tonight, though, is acknowledge you have a problem, rely on the right person, let God do what he wants to do, and then just receive that provision. Have faith that he's going to do that. When you say, God, you got this, let him do those things. All right, I got one more. I don't really know what to call it, but it's another one. It says, when you are hopeless, God comes to you. Verses 11 through 17, the situation is not just the guy sick unto death. There's a kid dead here. And how many of you realize that if you're dead, that's pretty hopeless? I mean, the mother here is pretty hopeless because her son is laying there dead. It says, 11 says that it came to pass the day after that he went to a city called Nain, and many of his disciples went with him, and much people. Now when he came nigh to the gate of the city, behold, there was a dead man carried out, the only son of his mother, and she was a widow, and much people of the city was with her. And when the Lord saw her, he had compassion on her, and said unto her, weep not. What a thought that Jesus seen her and said, weep not. Has compassion. We're studying the Gospels in our Sunday school group, and that's been my favorite thing to read about is Jesus' compassion in the Gospels. Yes, he went about the way of calling all the disciples, and he went and he did the things with, rebuke the Pharisees and all the C's and the E's and all those. He did all that. But right in the middle of working really, really hard, and right in the middle of doing his ministry and everything, he still had time for compassion for those that needed compassion. And he still, there's a story whenever he's calling, I believe it's when he calls Peter, who goes out on the boat with them, and they're like, hey, we're going to follow you. And right before he goes and gets to the next set of them, that he goes by the leper. He sees the leper. And he does, and you know how Jesus could have just saw the leper back there and said, hey, you're clean. You go ahead. But Jesus didn't do that. And I'm so glad about this. And I might just take off right here preaching, and if y'all need to leave, that's fine. You can go ahead. But I just want to say tonight that I'm thankful for the times whenever I was deep, dark, and I went back to the vomit, and I went back and rolled in the mud like an old dirty pig. God didn't care at all to come by my way, pick me up and say, son, I'm down here in the muck and the mire with you. Let's clean this thing up. Let's set you up, and let's set you back on your way down there. He never once cared. You come back here, Lee. I'm sorry. He never once cared. He didn't. Whenever I was lost and dead in my sin, I was dead. I was hopeless. I had no hope. That was me. They were carrying me out. They said, hey, listen, this guy's on his way to hell. He's dead. Back up. Back up. He's unclean. He's unclean. But Jesus saw fit to come by my way in my muck and my mire and decided to touch me that night. He had compassion on me when nobody else had compassion on me. Nobody else cared who I was. I was just an overweight teenager nobody cared about. But Jesus loved me enough and had compassion on me to come by my way. And I'm thankful that when you are hopeless, because there's a difference between helpless and hopeless. You can be helpless with hope and it'll be fine. But when you're hopeless, you ain't got nothing. People quit because it seems hopeless. And I'm glad that whenever it does, when it is hopeless, that's when God comes by your way. You can go to Him when you're helpless, but He comes to you when it's hopeless. And it's good even if I am saying it tonight. That's Jesus, though. He has compassion. When He looks on you, He loves you. He doesn't see all your faults. He looks and says, I love that one. He's mine. I love you so much. I just love him. And that's compassion. What a thought about the compassion. Whew. So he says, weep not. Verse number 14, and he came and touched the bier. And they that bare him stood still. And he said, young man, I say unto thee, arise. And he that was dead sat up and began to speak. And he delivered him to his mother. Whoa. Just the verse before, that guy was dead. Hopeless. The mother was no doubt destroyed. That was her only son. And she was a widow. So she didn't have a husband. So she was going to be all by herself. And all these people were having compassion on her. And Jesus seen her in the middle and said, weep not. Went over there and he commanded that man come forth, that little boy come forth. And he sat right up. Be terrible to own a funeral home when Jesus was around. Be like, hey, we're right in the middle of this. He'd be like, come on out. But isn't that just like Jesus? That's the thing. There's nothing that's out of his control. There's nothing that he can't command. He can command whatever it is, he can command it. We put God in this little bitty box, and then we put it in our pocket, and we just walk around with it like it's right here. But God can do so much more. Brother Kevin is pouring into us about growing. He's doing that because we're not even touching what God can do for us. We're not even scratching the surface of what all He can do. We get into a rut where, man, it's so hard, and we just don't want to let God do those things. God can do above and beyond what you think or ask of Him. Whatever it is that you need, He can do. I do not know what you're going through now. I don't. It could be the worst time in your life. But I do know somebody that it ain't worse for him. It ain't bad for him. He cares about you. And all he has to do is speak that word. Going to come forth. When we went by Lazarus' tomb, he said, Lazarus, come forth. And he come hopping out. Who else do you know can do that? Can you do that, Bryson? Good. That'd be weird. Don't do that. Don't do that. But he just goes by a way and just, you get, man. I'm taking so many stories right now. But I tell this story, I start crying again. I'm sorry, but there's a park bench or a bench outside the London Hospital that I know well. Every time I have to go to the London Hospital, I stop by that church bench by that bench because God met me at that bench. It's one of my places that I know that, we say, well, it's a hospital. It's weird. I know, but whatever. Anyway, so I remember the day that my dad died. I sat down on that bench, and it was cold. And I had shorts on. I know it's hard to believe, but I was wearing shorts in in the cold. It was just so cold. I just remember putting my head down and just praying, Lord, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's hopeless. I was just hopeless. I was done. I was like, I don't know what you're going to do. Sat there forever. It was cold. I remember just the granite or whatever that thing's made out of. It was just cold. I remember it being cold on my legs and just sitting there. There's a hand come by my way. Put his hand on my back. I love you, brother. I'm praying for you. I didn't know Brother Randy was coming. He was there, though. And he sat down right next to me. Brother Randy was always one of them people that never tried to tell you that he knew what you was going through. He never once told me that. He said, I don't know what you're going through. He said, but I do know that God's never going to leave you or forsake you. And you know how he patted you outside of your leg when he got done talking to you? He said, no, you all right? And just let me sit there for a minute. And 5 minutes before he showed up, it was hopeless. I said, God, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. No clue. Don't know. I just want to quit. I want to give up. As soon as Brother Randy left, God came out of my way and said, things still hopeless for you now. And it's one of those situations where I could go on and on and on, the moments that I've just sat down and said, Lord, it's hopeless. I know what we're going to do. No idea. Can't tell you how many times that I told Jamie, everything's going to be all right, honey. Everything's fine. And they go to my prayer closet and Lord, I know what we're going to do. You know what's going on. It's hopeless. I know what we're going to do. And it's not even 5 minutes. I just say 5 minutes because that's what we say. But instantly, God says, hopeless? Is that all you got? Be done. Now, was it always the way I wanted it to be? No. Because I would not struggle at all. I have millions of dollars. I wouldn't be walking around here stressed out. No way. But did you know God meets my needs? I mean, to the T. Not just like, oh, I need him to go here and he just fills up a little bit. No, he meets it to a T. And I brought some big things to him. And Jamie says it all the time, that I'm God's favorite. Because I pray to him about every little thing. I don't care what it is. I was like, hey, so I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm like, Lord, we need to do this. She goes, you think he cares about that? I said, yeah, he does. And he does care about that. And he meets those things. So if you're here tonight and you feel helpless, go to God. If you're here tonight and you're hopeless, just hang on. God's going to come by your way. And now, again, please do not leave here saying that I told you that God was going to just solve everything in 1 minute. That's not how that's going to work, all right? And don't say guys lay here saying that. Whatever, like he'll give it to you exactly the way that you want it. Because, sorry, Miss Faith, I'm not talking to you. The way that you want it. But he'll do it the way that he wants to do it. And it's way better than the way that you thought that you wanted it. All right, let's all stand if you will. Miss Katie, you care to come and play something tonight? So what I find, though, that we often miss out on is we'll be helpless and we'll be hopeless. But there's one more part to that. After God makes you not helpless and after God gives you hope, there was a celebration in verse number 15 to 17. It says, and he that was dead sat up and began to speak, and he delivered him to his mother. And there came a fear on all, and they glorified God, saying that a great prophet is risen among us, and that God hath visited his people. And his rumor of him went forth throughout all Judea and throughout all the region about him. Once God comes by, and once God answers that prayer, that's how you finish that prayer request, is you give God glory for those things. That's selfish for you to go through something, God do something big for you, you just keep holding it. Why is it selfish? Because what if the very person that's right next to you is going through something similar that God done for you and it was able to do it, and they're saying, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. And all you have to do is stand up and say, God showed up and did this for me. And they're like, I'm going through something like that. If he can do that for him, he can do that for me. And that gives them hope in that situation. So whatever you're going through tonight, if you're helpless tonight or hopeless tonight, when God comes by your way, please make sure that you stand up and you give God glory in some way. Whether that's saying, Lord answered a very specific prayer, God did this big thing, whatever you want to do, just make sure that you do that so that you can help somebody else. Because we're not in this thing alone. You're not an island. You're not by yourself. So when you go, you help somebody. Miss Katie, go ahead. If you need to pray tonight, whatever it may be, if you're feeling helpless, if you're feeling hopeless tonight, why don't you come down here? This is a great place to start if you're helpless and you're hopeless. Right here. Whatever it might be, whatever you got going on, he cares about, and he'll meet you down here. He cares about that thing that you got going on. Why don't you come tonight? Don't leave here with that thing. You say, it's so big I can't carry it. Just walk down here. God will drag it down here for you. Just come on down. He cares. Oh, he cares. Has such compassion on you. close tonight? Okay, thanks for letting me preach tonight before I get to tell you anything. Anybody got anything? Remember or Brother Johnny's dad? When you go home tonight, you lay down to pray. Remember them tonight. Remember that family. Remember Sunday or Wednesday night service, 7 o'clock. Anybody got anything? Pretty close. Got anything else you need to announce?
If you see somebody that ain't here tonight, text them and tell them that they love the Super Bowl more than Jesus. Don't ask them why they weren't here. Just tell them.
I invited a ton of people from work, and they're like, oh, because they're like, hey, next time you preach, let us know. We'll be there. And I was like, hey, I'm preaching Sunday night. They're like, oh, the Super Bowl. I was like, what's that got to do with anything? I was like, so I stopped asking because they were like, no, we're not coming. I was like, fine, then whatever next time, I guess. But do text them. That does mean a lot. When you do miss, sometimes the devil will come by your way and be like, see, told you nobody cared about you. Don't go back to that place. And it's a lie. But the devil can work it. I mean, he's a wedge driver, and he's easy to do it. So do make sure you text him and check on him.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else?
Josh, I want to say I'm thankful I came tonight, and I want to thank you for your message. And I mean, whatever you preach, it's going to be good in my book. But on the way here, me and Christian was literally just talking about situations going on with the grandkids, and I said, so what do you do in that situation? Like, there's nothing that I can physically do to help my grandchildren in this issue that they're having. And so we were just talking back and forth about it, and with her job and different things. But, what do? We just give it to Jesus.
Yep.
So I just
Amen.
want to thank God that I was here and that he gave me that message this morning for me.
Yeah, amen. I'll give you that $10 for telling me whatever I preach is good when we get done. Meet me after the service. Anybody else got anything tonight? If not, Brother Mark, close out tonight, brother.